if you don't know, they are making a 10th Fast and the Furious movie. Is getting a sequel. It's getting part 2 of Fast X.
You
so
can't
it's Fast
have
X
10.2.
Yeah, totally can. So we are getting Fast X2. I don't know if that's actually what they're going to call it, but this is going to wrap up the series, supposedly. I heard separately that it was supposed to be a 3-part final, but apparently not.
Please.
So Fast X1, Fast X2, go see Fast X. In a way, Critical Drinker did a review that better encapsulated all of my thoughts on the matter, but you should go see it. It's a hilariously good time at the movies, but here's the problem. Vin Diesel says that the Fast and the Furious spin-offs are still in the works, including a female-led Fast and the Furious movie. I cannot stress in enough words and with enough emphasis what a horrible mistake this would be. And I'll tell you why. There's nothing wrong with actually making a female-led Fast and the Furious spinoff. The problem is this: you cannot advertise it as there can be no her story or hero. There can be none of that. If you want to have a woman lead this film, that's fine. I think that there's a better argument here to be made that what they need to do is pick certain characters that logically fit together and make spin-offs about them. So if you've watched the movies, that would be like Tej, Roman, and Ramsey going and making a movie together. And then, or say like Letty, like if we're talking female lead, Ramsey's a girl from the previous one, but she hasn't been in them enough to justify being a lead in one of these films. But Letty could theoretically lead one of these movies. I actually do believe that Michelle Rodriguez is probably one of the more believable action women in Hollywood right now. Like in Fast 8 and 9, she was the only one of the women that looked like she was in like actual action shape. From what I remember, like she actually had some muscle tone and everything, and she kind of pulls it off. But what you'd do is you'd have Letty, Cypher, Hobbs, and Mr. Nobody. That could be a movie. Or you do Han, Shaw, Tess, or Giselle, which would be Gal Gadot. And then either Little Mr. Nobody, which is Scott Eastwood's character, or one of the other guys from there. Here's the problem. If you're going to have a female-led version, you have to pick the exact right woman to lead it, and you cannot advertise it as a female-led film. What they will never do, what they should do, have some balls and bring back Gina Carano and let her lead one. That would be incredible. But if you're not going to do that, which I know they won't, what they would do is first of all, I liked Brie Larson in Fast 10. I thought she did perfectly fine.
They kind of girl bossified her though, because like
it wasn't that bad.
I saw in the trailer she was beating up men twice her size.
It's the physics don't exist in this world. If you have to suspend disbelief there, she doesn't lecture people. She's on Dom's side, and she doesn't become the center stage of the whole debacle, right? Mm-hmm. She doesn't outshine the people who have been in the franchise for longer. But my point is that you cannot let her lead a movie. I don't care if I liked her in Fast 10. You cannot let her lead a movie. You've got Michelle Rodriguez as Letty. Gal Gadot could do it because Gal Gadot is a star. You could have Gina Carano do it. You could theoretically have Charlize Theron do it, even though she's been a bad guy for 3 movies, and it makes literally no sense given the fact that she like offed Dom's ex. You can't do that, okay? But the problem is, like, in all of these films, it's fine. You just can't have it say, in a world where Dominic Toretto blows up cars and takes out spies, there were women. Like, it can't be that. It cannot be about the women. It has to be about a bunch of characters that just so happen to have a woman with the main story.
Do you realize that you're screaming into the void?
Yes.
And nothing you say will change the
what it proves
outcome, which is that it is going to be marketed that way.
What it proves, we don't necessarily know that. We don't necessarily know that. Like,
also, this just shows that they can't accept that it's a franchise with a male fan base.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. This will prove. Oh, we got a $20 one right there.
He said this is just Final Fantasy X2.
Okay, perfect. Look, I am screaming into the void a bit, but what it is for me is that I make the comment a lot that every time Hollywood gets something right, it's a mistake. It's an accident. Right? Like, every so often, one of these studios releases one movie that's fine, right? Amazon Prime releases a bunch of garbage like Citadel, and all of these other shows, but every so often you get a Reacher or a Terminalist. It's not proof that they know what they're doing. It's proof that you throw a bunch of crap at the wall and it sticks. I don't think of the Fast and the Furious franchise as that. You've made 10 movies that very clearly embrace what they are and don't attempt to be anything else. They're not pandering to an audience that isn't theirs. They know exactly who comes to see these movies. So logically speaking, if you can keep that same tone and just make it a spin-off with a woman in the lead, that could be done. You could theoretically do that. I liked Hobbs and Shaw starring The Rock and Jason Statham. It was fine.
I think that any franchise that's 10 movies in doesn't need another edition.
Yes, it does.
Nor does it need any spin-offs.
Look,
we're beyond the point of reanimating a corpse.
It's not a corpse, though. 10th is the best since 7. Easily the best since 7.
Okay.
8, and I didn't like, I thought 8 was bleh. I thought 9 was actually kind of bad because of the self-referential humor. Like, I really did not like the self-referential humor in 9. They still have self-referential humor in 10, but it's far more expertly written into the story in a way that doesn't take you out of what you're watching. The other thing they would have to do is, like, you would have to make Dom cameo in all of the spin-offs. He has to show up for like 5 minutes to give them some magical MacGuffin that they need to solve whatever problem they're trying to figure out. In the chat, they're literally like, I do not know how Brett can have this much enthusiasm over one film franchise.
I don't either.
Guys, go watch the Critical Drinker's review of it. He takes a lot of the points that I tried to make in my review and just does it in a way that's far more expertly done because he's a better talker than I am. He's better at articulating what it is. He basically says, he goes, it's insane and I don't care. He's like, he basically says, like, in an industry that is now full of producers and actors trying to shove a message down your throat, one franchise that opts not to do that is fine. You're like, if you want to be the one franchise that chooses not to do that, people are gonna gravitate towards it and go. I don't think
it's not as simple of a dichotomy as that.
I believe it.
Why are our only choices?
They're not. But I'm saying, but this is just one of those choices. There should be other choices. There are films you've seen this year, in the last couple of years, that you did like.
Like, I would always rather have a Bullet Train, which you could say is a happy mistake, than an addition to a franchise that is this.
I didn't even think of Bullet Train as like a summer blockbuster, though. Like, the only thing that made it feel like a summer blockbuster would have been Brad Pitt being in it, and the fact that like it felt more.
People loved Bullet Train, and it did really well.
No, it did fine. I'm saying, but that doesn't mean there isn't a place for something like this where people are still gravitating towards it. In the capitalist economy, if people are willing to give you their money, there's a reason to make it. And I understand there's plenty of references to that, of things that I don't like. Plenty of the Marvel movies still, I guess, kind of make money, but I have no interest in them. But I don't think that they shouldn't be made if they're gonna, or at least at the very least, I understand why they get made, even if I don't like them.
Okay.
Right? For this franchise, I still think that there's stories that could be told because of how they've branched out and what they've turned it into, that it's basically superheroes now. And it's not as long as they don't try to intellectualize it or make it smart fare, and you never release it anytime other than summer or early spring. You know, there's something to be said for that. But I dare them. I'm going to dare them right now. Bring back Gina Carano. And have her do it with Ronda Rousey, and just have 2 MMA women beating up a bunch of men. I will watch that movie, because at least Gina Carano is semi-believable in that role, even if the men are 3 times her size. I had a bunch of people, like, I posted a scene from the movie Haywire where she beats up a guy, right?
Okay.
And everybody in the comments like, this is completely unrealistic. This would never happen. He was just throwing his soul. I'm like, I know.
Neither is a magnetic spaceship sucking a car into it from
like,
midair.
I was like, I know it's not realistic. I don't care. It's fine. I'm just saying, guys, how they market it will tell us how much they actually know about their franchise. If they market it as like the first Fast and the Furious franchise to get girl bossed, then we know that.
Why do you think they came up with this idea in the first place? It's because of that.
Because of what? Because they don't know?
That impulse to.
I mean, I think it could be as simple as
expectations.
No, because it's Vin Diesel saying, and Vin Diesel seems to want to give the audience what they want with these films. I think it could be as simple as saying, like, he just doesn't understand the connotation of what he's saying. When he says female-led, what a lot of people led that to believe was like an all-female version Like there was articles that said all female Fast and the Furious, which was not what it was.
Okay.
It was a female-led version, which is different. That's not the same thing. That's what I'm saying. The marketing can't reflect that, and it shouldn't be all the women doing the Avengers Endgame thing where they cheesily line up next to each other to fight Thanos. It has to be just a regular movie that's a spin-off of the franchise that just happens to have a charismatic female actress as the lead character. And you cannot market it as that. It has to stay as family. Everything has to be family. Family, 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 forever. Nothing else. That's what it is.
I couldn't care less.
Now if they start saying like what's the term I keep hearing these days? Not planned family. What's like
Wait, what?
Blended family.
Oh.
It's a blended family. You hear that term all the time now. Guys, I love the film. I make no apologies. I saw superhero films are the best films in the chat saying that, Brett, you need to go see it again in 4DX. Yes.
What does that mean?
It's a different. I think it's audio. 4D is like so. It's 3D.
Does it like shake you around?
Yeah,
in your
like
chair?
your chair and stuff moves and stuff like that.
I don't know if we have that option
Amazing.
around us.
Also, guys, I'm gonna give some mild spoilers here about the film. So skip ahead 2 minutes if you don't want to be spoiled or if you love this. They're saying, Brett, this isn't funny because I'm still going. I love it. Apparently, Alan Richardson's character in that film was supposed to be played by Keanu Reeves. And the character has like a very cool double turn where you think he joins the good guys, but then he becomes a bad guy again. And it would have been very cool to see Keanu do that. Mm-hmm. Where like he starts out as a bad guy and then he kind of very quickly joins the good guy side. And even in the film, I'm like, well, that was a little fast for how much crap he was talking just 10 minutes ago. But then he betrays them at the end. And that would have been very cool to see Keanu play a bad guy, becomes a good guy, which leans into what everybody thinks of him, and then immediately becomes a bad guy.
Cloud Roth. Love watching you guys. Here's some money.
Oh, well, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.